Hello, Jim Hodges here. Yogi here. Yogi is a 1 year or almost 1 year old Australian Shepherd that's come to live with us for a couple of weeks. He's in our residency training program. He's done real good. He's a sweet guy. He's very affectionate. He wants to please most of the time. He wants to do the things that we ask him most of the time. Just like with some smart dogs though, and I've said this before in videos when I'm dealing with smart dogs, real training begins for a smart dog when you want him to do something and he wants to do something else. Well, guess what? That's the time we have to step up and become the leader. It's important that we practice. We never give him a command unless we know he's going to do it or we can make him do it, okay? That's on leash, and that's going down the road when we start to work with him off leash. Doesn't mean that we intimidate or dominate or break a spirit or do anything like that. We just want to be there to redirect him with a tap of the leash, a tap of the shoulder, or something along those lines with the word no. You're going to hear me talking about two forms of motivation in this video. It's praise and consequence. Praise is when we use words, attaboy, with touch, maybe with a treat or a toy, all at the same time. We want to try to make a conscious effort at the beginning with our dogs to praise verbally and physically and with a treat at the opportune time. It's important to realize that we don't want our dog working for treats except for when we're teaching him commands. He's working because we ask him to do something. The treat is a reward for a job well done. Now the other side of motivation is consequence. When he does something wrong, we're going to tap the leash. And when we tap the leash, it's not designed to hurt him, it's to redirect him. And when we tap it, we're going to tell him no, and then we're going to repeat the command. I like to tell people that in the dog world, dogs are physical first. They don't carry on conversations. In fact, you probably had an opportunity at home with your dogs or puppies that you said no and it worked for the first week or two or three or a month. But at some point in time, the word no just went in one ear and out the other. Why? Because dogs are physical in their communication. He's not in a command right now, so it's okay for him to scratch a little. But if I had him in a command, he couldn't do it. That's enough. All right, come on. Straighten it up. Good boy. We're on camera. We don't want to scratch the entire time. So, listen to my tone of voice. Watch what I do. I'm going to go through all the different forms of our motivation and the obedience commands right now. It will serve as a wonderful reference. Of course, we have kitty cat here, kitty cat over there. That's just life. He has to obey us. It's okay for cats to be out. There could be distractions all the time. Of course, when you start training your dogs, you always want to limit distractions until you've had a chance to teach him what you want and how you want it. So listen to my tone of voice, and here we go. Yogi, let's go. So my let's go. He's right. Notice my hand right here by my side. He's walking right with me. I could be walking fast, or I could walk slow. His job is to stay with me on my walk. I could turn, good boy. I could turn to my left, I could turn to my right. He's going to be right with me. If he isn't, if he starts to go one direction and I'm wanting to go the other, I will tap the leash in the direction I want him to go. I will tap it typically parallel to the ground. So if he started to go that way, I would go, no, let's go, and turn this way. Sorry about that. If he started to go in front of me, I would tap back. You're okay, good boy. So it's real important. When I do bite, when I do tell him no, let's go, we want to praise as soon as he starts to do it. Not as much praise as if he did it right the first time, but we want to communicate, yeah, that's what we want. Good boy, let's do it that way, okay? We save our great praise for things when he does them right the first time, okay? So let's go. Our hand is right here by our side, and I like to tell people if our hand starts to move out, he's starting to pull. We tap back, and our tap is something, tap and release, tap and release. We don't want to pull. When we pull the leash, we pull our dog, we're actually doing the work for him, and he doesn't have to think. The tap makes him think about what we're doing, especially if we do it timely, in the moment of when he's doing something wrong in this case. Of course, praise is important in the moment as well. We want to praise him 20 times more than we bite him to begin with. I don't care if he's just relaxing here, not doing any work, I want to reach down and pet him and let him know how good he's being, okay? But when we're doing obedience and he does a command, as soon as he does it, we want to give him that praise. Good boy, pet him, and maybe even give him a treat at the same time. Let's go. Good boy. He's real good with his walks now. Sit. Hand signal for sit. Good boy. Good. Break. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. I'm watching to see if he's going to lay down now. And if he started to lay down, I would bite. Break. So how would I bite the sit command? If he did the command, I'm going to praise him. Go try to make sure I touch as much as I can when I give him the praise. But if he didn't, I would tap the leash straight up above him and tell him, well, you see he sits. No, sit. In that case, good boy. He has to hold that sit until I release him. But I'm not going to keep him in the sit more than 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute. I don't care what I'm doing when he's in the sit, he has to stay. I could be walking around doing whatever. Break. Good boy. But I'm going to tap straight up lightly. Again, we're not trying to hurt him. Now there, if you notice that second time, I told him to sit and he took that left foot, right foot, and started going out in front of himself like he was getting ready to down. If he'd have started down, I would have tapped up and told him to no, sit. I think he was trying to anticipate what my next command was, and I purposely did not give him the down because I didn't want him thinking he knew more than what I do about the commands we were getting ready to do. So suffice it to say, let's goes like this. Sit is a tap straight up. Let's go. So we can do hand signals. Don't even have to do the verbals. Atta boy. So now I'm going to give him a treat. Good boy. Break. And then I break him. You notice I step away and he comes to me. I am subliminally teaching him that I'm the center of the universe, okay? When I release him and step back, release him saying break, and I step back and he comes to me, I'm going to pet him, I'm going to love him. I want him to know that coming to me is a good thing. So I never want to do anything to make him not trust me for that. So you'll hear me say break. I may go, when I've got him in a sit, I can go to a down, I can go to a let's go, I can go to a come, but I'll also at a point in time will break. And when I break him, I just step back and then praise when it happens, okay? Also notice that I didn't dig a treat out of my pocket when we were doing the sit, okay? I had that sit coming out of nowhere. I call it manna from heaven. He was working because he had to. I just liked the way he was doing things, and when he did it, just like I wanted, when I went to praise him, I gave him the treat. When I gave him the treat, I pet and loved him physically and verbally, okay? So I've got a treat loaded up again. I may decide to use it. Treats are a good thing. The only thing I say about treats, they're great for learning, they're great for spontaneous rewards, but we don't want our dog working for treats all the time. They're working because we ask them to do something. That's what a true leader aspires to do. And that's what they want to do. I truly believe it, okay? Dogs are pack animals. Yeah, you know, I hear dog trainers talk about, well, people aren't dogs. The social network, the fabric of the pack is strong with the dog. So we're part of the pack, regardless. He knows we're not a dog, but that pack mentality is still strong. Let's go. Good boy. So we've got cats around. We've got a couple of squirrels around. You saw him looking at it. He's still got to do what I asked him. Sit. Good. Down. Hand signal for down. Good boy. Just as with the sit, he has to hold that down when I put him in a down, okay? I don't care if it's 30 seconds, a minute, what have you. Oops. No. So what did I do? See, no. I grabbed a snout. No. And let the rock drop right back on the ground. That was sort of fresh and new with him. I was just getting ready to say, when we put a dog in a down, he doesn't smell the ground. He definitely doesn't pick up rocks. If he does, we bite it. How did I bite it? I grabbed his snout real lightly and held it. And he dropped the rock. I didn't pick it up and move it away. I didn't give him a treat for dropping the rock. No, that means you let go of it, okay? And now he's back into the down again, and he's holding the down. What I will do with that down, this is the hand signal from the side. If he didn't do it, I would tap towards the ground. Here's his head. no, down, okay? Break. See, I take my break, I step back, he comes to me. I could even give him a treat at times if I wanted to. I'm going to come back and we're going to do the down one more time, and we're going to see if he tries to pick up a rock again. I may do the down a little bit differently. You saw my hand beside me. That's when we tell him down from the side. From in front, down, hand extended. Good boy. Now, as I said, he's in that down until we release him. He's not supposed to smell the ground, roll over, or anything else. There is a caveat to that. Stay. When I tell him to stay, that means pack your bags, dude. You've got to be there for a while. He can smell the ground. He can roll over. He can chew something we'll allow him to have. He cannot chew rocks. He cannot chew beds. He cannot chew anything like that, okay? If he does it, just like he did there, we make a mental note, and we know that he may do it again. So we, as the dog trainer, are going to be ready for him to pick up that rock, okay? Anytime our dogs mess up, I try to come back and try to perform it at least 2 times correctly, especially in the beginning, so that he understands what the correct action is. And I make sure that I stay in control, that I don't get angry with him. I don't get emotionally cranky with him, if you will. I try to save my emotion for positives. The no's are just surgical. No, bite, go. The bite is towards the ground. Saw the hand signal for the stay. I usually tell a dog to stay for at least a couple of minutes at a time. I tell my clients to do the down stay 10, 15 minutes at a time, probably every other day for the first week or 2 when a dog goes home. And that's to teach a dog that we are firmly in control, okay? The down is the most submissive command for a dog. When he starts to down and down readily, he's pretty much given up that you are an authority. Now it's up to us to be a consistent authority, okay? So we have, let's go. We're going to tap parallel to the ground in the direction we want. Sit is up, down is towards the ground, okay? We can tell him, sit. Good boy. Notice my break. Notice my tone of voice, okay? Good boy. And notice every time I break him, what does he do? He comes right back to me. We can go from any command we want to the next command, okay? When we do ask him to do a command, we try to motivate him with our voice. We make him or try to get him where he wants to do it. Let's go. Atta boy. Now we're gonna place. Good boy. Place is get on your bed, you lay down, sit down, stand up, read a book. I say that over and over, but I mean it. He can do that for a half hour, for an hour, for 2 hours if you ask him to do it. This is our community outside place bed, and it has dogs and cats and other smells on it, but he's doing real well with it. Why? Because we asked him to do it. He has to do it. If he didn't get on the place, or if he got off the place, we would take the leash, because in the beginning he needs to have the leash on him for the first week or 2 till he understands that we're in control. We would pick up the leash and we would just tap it, just like in the let's go, a movement command towards the center of the bed. It'd be no, 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 place. The hand signal for place is pointing at the bed. Right, let's go. Good boy, I'm proud of you. Next thing is to load up. That's to get in the car. Potentially, if you wanted him on the furniture, that's okay too, but I would invite him on the furniture. Typically, I wouldn't allow a dog to just, nonchalantly get on furniture whenever you want. It's an invite by me, and when I'm ready for him to get off, I'll tell him break or let's go. So here we go. Good boy. Notice as soon as he got up, I pet him. Good boy. Break. Sit. Good. Proud of you, my man. So the next thing is the heel command. The heel command, we have a dog in our box beside us. It's our job to keep in the box. His job's to stay in the box. It's really nothing more than a more pronounced let's go, if you will. His job is to be in the box. When we stop, he sits. Hand signals like this. Heel. Stop, he sits. Atta boy. Now I can step off, I can do whatever. He's supposed to stay in that heel position, which is a sit then when we had stopped. Remember, the heel is when we stop, he sits. The thing about the heel is he has to watch us. So we've got to make sure we try to be successful for him. we wouldn't stop heel in the middle of a curve, because then he's not going to be in the box when we stop. We wouldn't run 100 miles an hour and suddenly stop, because he's going to shoot right past us. He has to respond to us and what we're doing, so we want to help build on that success. Now, if one day we want to run 100 miles an hour and stop, we just teach him that we're going to be ready to stop, so he learns that becomes his job to recognize the cues before we stop. Heel. So we're right here, we go in circles, I step off, see how he's coming back into the box? I can turn one way, I can turn the other, but I'm not going to stop in the turn, I'm going to straighten up till he's got it. Attaboy. Next thing is the come command. I've got another treat in my hand. I believe with the come command is a great time to give treats on leash and off leash. He's got to do it on leash because we ask him to. But it's nice to give him a reward, to give him a warm association with that word, the come command. So I've got him out there. He's on the sit from the end of a heel. I'm going to pull the leash in. Come. He comes. He sat. Attaboy. Treat. Open hand. I gave him a treat. I pet him. I love him. How good are you? Break. Good boy. So my hand signal was like this. He came to me and sat in front of me. If he'd have come to me and didn't sit, I would have tapped the leash up, on leash, no sit. If he'd have come to me and sat, and then when I went to give him a treat or pet him and he got up, it would be no sit. Because the end of the come command on leash is for him to sit for me until I release it, okay? So I had pet him and loved him and then released him, okay? Let's go. Another one for the come command. Now we're walking. Cut. Now what did I try to simulate there? Is at any moment I may need to tell him to come. But when I tell him to come and he turns around and comes to me, break. I'm going to reward him. I'm taking the next step to going off leash with him on the come command. Good boy. The next step on the off leash, especially if you have a fenced in yard or a tennis court or something like that, is when he's out running around in the yard and you want him to come to you, you don't run the risk of telling him to come. Because if you tell him to come and he's got his attention somewhere else or he's so far away and says, I know if I come to you, Dad, you're going to put me up and you're going to go somewhere. So that becomes a negative. We don't want to give him that command for him to turn us down. So right now, for the next 100, 200, 300 times, when he's out in the yard, and you want him to come, you don't tell him to come. You'll do something like this. And he's watching me right now. But I'll go, Yogi, hey, Yogi, come. Attaboy, good boy, break. And then I'll break him and let him go right back. You notice when I called him Yogi and I waved the little treat, he knew I had something for him because we started practicing for the off-leash work. And when I didn't tell him to come, when I said Yogi, if you'll go back and watch the video, he started running to me, and then I told him to come. So when he was running to me, he had the warm fuzzies. He had an endorphin release. He was thinking really happy thoughts about what he was going to get when he got to me. That's when I gave him the word come, because I wanted to marry those thoughts with that command so he thinks nothing but happy things when he hears the come command, okay? Very, very important that we do that. Takes a lot of practice, a lot of work. We would not have him come to us and put him up. We try to do nothing immediately after he comes except for positives. Okay, so we wouldn't call him to him and put him up. We wouldn't call him to us and punish him. It's always without reservation, attaboy, we're going to pet him and love him when he does it, okay? Sit. Good boy. Down. That's a fine fella. Sit. Such a good boy. Break it. So hopefully that's a pretty good idea for dogs in general, Yogi in particular, for what we want to do. You've got all the commands, you saw all the hand signals, you saw my hand signals, hopefully you heard my tone of voice. When I'm standing here like this, I don't have him in a sit command. Why do I not have him in a sit? Because if I'm going to be here more than 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute, that might be uncomfortable for him, and I don't want him to be uncomfortable. So if I'm walking down the street and I stop, here he is. He can't go anywhere now. He sees the cat right over there. If he started to go any further and the leash got tight, I would tap it. That was a good boy. That was a little unfair by me because it didn't really get tight, but I wanted you to demonstrate that the tap doesn't have to be much. It's just redirection and it's consistency with praise on the top. Thank you so much. You know I'm Jim Hodges. My number is 336-945-3232. On Facebook, Jim Hodges Dog Training. Heck, on Amazon, it's Jim Hodges Dog Training. And my website is jimhodgesdogtraining.com. If I can ever help you or anyone out there, let me know. I enjoy what I do. It's a passion for me. And I truly believe becoming your dog's leader is the best thing that could ever happen for dogs and people. It's not about brute strength. It's not about feeding him till he drops over fat from a sugar high. It's about encouraging him and wanting him to have a relationship with me. I wish you the same as well. Take care. Break.